Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's so good to be here today. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, good afternoon. Hey, good to see you. Good afternoon. Hey, Lars, good to see you. Luke, good to see you. Bill, welcome. Everybody, thank you. Those of you watching this video later at home, it's a privilege and an honor to be here today. I am Michael Leidick, co-owner, co-founder of BackToTheFutureTrading.com. It is an exciting day to be together with you. We are the only company in the world that is telling you the truth about how markets work and how signals can be projected forwards into the future. Every week for the last 13 years or so, we've been giving out the signals 2 days before the webinar on Thursday, coming back to review what's actually happened in the market at those times and directions. If you're wondering what we're talking about and you just want to reference that, I'll paste the link in your GoToWebinar chat box. BackToTheFutureTrading.com forecasts are here. So if you're wanting to follow along at home or put this in your favorites folder, BackToTheFutureTrading.com /warp-webinar-forecasts /. You can follow along with us every week. New updates published every Tuesday for Wednesday and Thursday the following week. And now we're referencing those times here today in different markets, and we're going to see what actually happens in the markets after the fact. There was big news today. CPI report came out at 8:30. We're wondering what's the inflation going to do. And in a moment, I'm going to introduce you to a customer who's using this software, trader who's of renown in the circles of our corporate Valhalla. Mr. Jacob is back today with us after a 1-month hiatus. But I want to just show you really quickly why I'm excited about this program and the effect that it's having on people. The software told us, the web page listed these times earlier today. We were looking for an up move down here at 7:54 since Tuesday. We got the up move at 7:54. Going into the econ, we were expecting selling pressure into 8:33. And then right here on the close of the 8:33 signal, I want you to really see, people say, I don't trade news. At the close of the 8:33 candle, it went up before it pulled back $30 or 120 ticks right from the close of that candle. It finishes up here at the open of the 909 candle, $45. Right, 160 ticks plus by 909. Why was 909 important? Because we had told you, the software had output the times for Thursday's market on Tuesday. And the market from the open of the 909 candle until the close of the 942 candle had fallen another $40. 30 straight up, 45 finished, 40 straight down. And we can see that the program is identifying times in the future where banks already have a plan. And when we get to these times, the market is moving in the directions that we expect them to. And so I use every opportunity I can to teach as many people as I can about what's happening. I'm joining, for example, groups on Facebook and mentioning to people what I expect to see. And this is a post that I wrote on the E-mini S&P 500 futures page earlier today. Here are the times for the balance of today's session. The smaller move at 10:36 implies a potential pop-up at 11:21. And I had this chart right here. And Jacob, this was posted in a group that has over 8,000 members. And today I essentially said, the selling is over. And I could learn that because the move down at 909 was tremendous. And then the move down at 1036 was much smaller in comparison. So I told people 1121 will mark the bottom of this market. Wait and see. And you guys can see throughout the afternoon, it never revisited those lows. So there's a powerful force behind these signals where we're able to come out and tell you in the future, hey, here are the patterns lately. Here's what's happening in crude lately at these times. Here's what's happening in gold and wheat and soybeans and home heating oil. Here's what's happening in Apple and the E-mini S&P. And I'm excited about that. But what I like to do is bring you people who are using the software that have had a history with it, that sat in the webinar just like you. Jacob, are you there today, young man?
Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. What I'd like to do is just kind of give you the helm. I'm going to make you the presenter. It's so cool to have you back. And I just want to let you talk about whatever it is you want to tell these people about the program, what you think you'd want to know about the software and your experiences with it as someone who's never used it before. So it's scary for me as an owner, as a founder, to let that happen, but I think people deserve to hear about that experience. And tell them a little bit about your trip too. I think they'd love to hear about a place in the country that isn't underwater or on fire right now. So,
it's definitely not also, that up in Tahoe, no.
No, keep in mind also, if you're an existing customer and you want to learn how Jacob's using the program, he'll give you information at the end of the webinar how you can get in touch with him. He does have mentoring hours and he does tutor customers, and so we're excited to have that ability for him. So without further ado, thank you so much for your time. Buckle up, button down. It's going to be a great time with Jacob. Guys, have a great afternoon and listen closely. There's some wisdom about to be dropped on you now. Guys, take care.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for developing such amazing software that has had such an impact on my trading and my existence on this beautiful planet that we get to inhabit for a time. Yeah, so I've been up in Truckee, California, for the last month, skiing as many days as I possibly could. I think I got 13 or 14 days in out of 30. I don't ski on the weekends because I'm smart about that. It's good to see everybody again. Who we got here? We got a bunch of people. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, I haven't seen you folks for a while. Who, I wonder how many, I definitely recognize a bunch of these names. Good to see you, Dorian and Jim, Susan. Yeah, I recognize so many of these names. Some I do not though. If you wouldn't mind, if you don't have the software yet, I kind of want to know how many people have it and how many people don't, so I can kind of know how to or what to speak to. Luke, good to see you. Oh, look at all these questions coming in. I love questions. Yes, I had an awesome trip. Man, let me tell you. So I get up there, I drive in on Friday night. So I just got back last Friday. So 5 Fridays ago. Anyway, I drive in on Friday night up the 80 from basically coming from Sacramento area. I live in Santa Barbara, but I was coming up the 80 from Sacramento, and it had just started snowing. Well, it was more like freezing rain and kind of nastiness, but by the time I got to the cabin, it had turned to snow. And and there was barely any snow on the roads. There was definitely snowpack up there. But it wasn't even 3 days. 2 days later, we had 5 feet. So my timing was epic, and it was epic on the way out. The whole time that I was there in 30 days, I think we had 14 feet of snow. 14 feet, not inches, feet. I think by the time I left, we were 150% of the average or the season total norm at that point in time. So I was really stoked. It was epic. And I wish I could say I was like super stoked to be back, but I could live up there full time. The only reason I'm here is in Santa Barbara. Well, there's some other reasons, but mainly it's just because of my daughter. So anyway, this is what it looked like up there, more or less. I don't have any of the actual pictures that I took on my computer. Okay, this is a time where I need to take a couple deep breaths and just like relax and sink in, because I notice myself getting nervous doing these. But if I take a few deep breaths, usually right around this point in the webinar, I can start to sink in and chill out. So I'm going to do that. Feel free to join along. I'll do 3 of them. Everybody in if you want. Again. And last one. We're all traders, right? Trading's a crazy, crazy game. Crazy game. What a way to make a living. Attempt to make a living. So let me just look at the questions real quick here. Steven, good to see you. How did you get the drawing tool snapped to the left of your chart? Oh, yeah, that's a good question. I'll just address that right now. All that is an indicator on your NinjaTrader. It's available for everyone, free of charge. It's I guess my eyes. Hold on a second. Drawing tool tile, A, B, C, D. Drawing tool tile. And then I always make 30 rows. And then right here, this drop down arrow, then you can tell it what drawing tools you want it to show over here. So you just basically add it as an indicator, drawing tool tile. Good question. Well, I don't need 2 of them, so I'll remove that one. And while we're talking about indicators, this August bar timer is pretty sweet. That's what shows the little timer on the side of the bar right there. Invaluable. I think there's a few of them, a few different ones you can get on the NinjaTrader ecosystem. Yeah, no problem, Richard. Let me just see here. Your software is great, blah, blah. I make it too, oh yeah, here you go. Yeah, Luke. Make it too complex, but I get confidence. Thank you. Thank you, Michael, Ron, David, Jacob, Rachel. Super service product, nice. Thanks for saying that, Luke. Yeah, so I'm not an employee or a sales guy or anything. If you want to talk sales, Dave's the guy to talk to, or you can talk to Michael, but definitely not me. I'm just the guy who does these webinars every so often, and also likes to teach people how to use the software. And Dave, are you here, Dave? Do you want to drop your contact info in the chat? Who's here for the first time? Anybody? Anybody here for the first time? I have a feeling that most of you folks have seen at least one of my webinars before, so I have a basic understanding of how I trade with the software. Oh, Richard. All right, right on, Richard. Susan, first time? Oh, maybe I was thinking about, oh, there's 2 Susans today. That's why. Nice. Well, good to see you. Other Susan? Oh, Richard just bought the product TimeWarp today. Congratulations, Richard. Nice. That's a nice present for yourself. Nice present for yourself. So, all right. Well, thank you, Michael, for that awesome introduction on the software like that. He's so good at that. I really don't like that part. I like the part where I can talk about the charts. So before I do anything else, let me just let me get rid of the background. There we go. So this is how I have my chart set up for like the simplest form of trading warp. Let's see here. So Yeah, the ES actually had a really nice news signal. The NASDAQ didn't have as good of a news signal, but I don't really care. I only trade the NASDAQ, and I only trade from the market open. I don't trade pre-market. I threaten to trade pre-market all the time, and I threaten to trade news all the time. Incidentally, the NASDAQ often, I mean, I'd say 80% of the time that I've seen backtesting wise, if you know how to use the dots and the NASDAQ news events are, the signals are really spot on. It's kind of freaky, but you do have to have a strategy around it, of course. Earl. Oh, well, thanks, Earl. Okay, so how should I start? I'm going to mute for a second because I have to clear my throat. Nobody wants to hear that. Hold on one second. Oh, that's way better. All right. Okay. Well, since I've been away, I have developed some really cool new ways to use the software. Updates to the strategy that anybody has ever, most of you who have seen me do a webinar or watch the YouTube video, my strategy, it will, I've given different versions of it, but the basics of it remain the same, and so goes for this newer update. It works very well so far as I've seen on the NASDAQ 5-minute. Doesn't seem to work as well on the 3-minute, but over time it still works. So my whole goal lately has been to get to 400 ticks as quickly as possible as a goal, and then be done for the day. Because I can't handle it emotionally. I just can't. Like, the faster I can get out of this trading chair, the better. Make my 400 ticks and then get out of the chair. Take a break, then come back, maybe do some back testing and sketching, if you will. So what I've noticed, and anybody who has traded the system that I've been teaching, probably have noticed that every once in a while we'll get a bar that's just huge, and it's an entry bar. I don't really see any. Well, this would be a good example. This puncture trade here at 115. So if anybody, I don't know if I feel like really going in. Okay, I guess I should start with the basics. Let me just start with the very basics real quick. Where are my dots? There they are. Dots are way out there. There we go. So what TachEon TimeWarp does is it goes back in time and it looks at the historical data provided by your data feed via NinjaTrader platform. And it looks for specific times of day in which the market puts in a turn or swing. And it once enough, this is how I look at it at least, once the software determines by looking at, it's like over 12,000 lines of code, goes back and it looks like at all the historical data. And if there's enough swing points in the market that overlap or average out at a certain time over the time that you want the software to look at, so 7 days, 21 days, 14 days, whatever, however long you want to look at, it will extrapolate those points in time out into the future as if as a higher probability of the swing occurring again. So the market has memory, if you will. That's the theory. So these blue dots basically mean that at some point there was selling pressure in the past and it's forecast to sell again. And at 820, white dots mean that the price is forecast to go up. So in the past, there have been swing lows, and then at white dots, we've put in new highs. So that's really that's the basic. Blue dot means price go down, white dot means price go up. That's caveman style. So let me just find I'm just gonna cherry pick on purpose here and find a good example of a regular, there actually isn't any today. So I'm gonna show you basics of this strategy that I use. Here we go. Here, I'll cherry pick this 10:15 signal here. So at 10:15 a.m., this is a NASDAQ 5-minute. This works on MNQ as well. I highly recommend starting with MNQ, but we'll use a NASDAQ today. Those signals can be slightly different on NASDAQ versus micro NASDAQ, but I'd say 95% of the time they're the same. So at 10:15, I'm just going to drag the chart over so we can't see what's going to happen in the future here for just a moment. And yes, I admit I completely cherry picked this. So at 10:15, we have a white dot. That means price go up. So to buy, so this is a buying window. So blue dot to white dot. So this is a selling window. Oops, no, that's not the one. Selling window is over at 10:15, and now we're in a buying window. So to enter a trade with the system that I've been using for a while now, we need a candle to close above. Let me just get rid of this because it's the open price line. This open price line is printed as soon as the signal candle, that's this candle, this is a signal dot. As soon as the signal candle closes, this little white line will print. So we call this an OPL or an open price line. It actually prints at the close of the signal candle, but you could say that it prints at the open of the next candle. So regardless, we call this the open price line. This dot line right here, we call this the dot price line. At least that's what I call it. So this squiggly line here, the only squiggly line that you'll ever see on any of my charts, this is a whole moving average, HMA, and it's a 21 period. And to get to that, you can just go right into the TachEon TimeWarp settings. I'm rusty. I feel like I'm rusty at the webinars. Jeez. Oh, okay. There you go down to moving average. Select HMA out of your different moving averages that you can choose, 21, and then whatever width you want. So the simplest iteration of this strategy is at a white dot, we need a white HMA. It doesn't matter if the candle's closing above or below it, and we need a candle closing above the open price line. Now we're going to go long. So here, this candle does indeed close above the open price line, pretty obvious. Our HMA is white, and it's white at the close of the candle, and we have a white dot. So basically 3 things: white candle, white close above, white whole moving average, white dot. And as soon as, I'm gonna add a little bit more margin here, 1 second. I'm gonna do like 375. There we go. As soon as this candle closes, we're just going to enter a market buy, just buy market. And then we're going to use this Fibonacci retracement tool that anybody can make themselves. I'll show you how I did it. You just got to go to your levels and put in all these numbers. This will be up on YouTube later. So you can pause YouTube and plug all these numbers in, or if I ever check emails, you can send me an email and I can eventually, it might take me a while, send you the file that I used, or that I can send you a copy of the file. So, but the only colored ones are the 100.99, I make that red, the 0.10 is green, and the negative 99.99 is green. Everything else is just a gray line. These extra ones up here, those are for if you want to trail your stop. But the main ones that we need are this first line and the second line. So our first line here, this is our target. Oops, this is our target 1. This is our target 2. We have 3 positions. So our ATM strategy. Let me just go ahead and show you the ATM strategy. So as soon as this candle closes above the open price line, that's our buy signal. So just click buy market, but you're going to want to have an ATM set up something like this. Order quantity 3, and then target 1, 2, and 3, quantity 1, 1, 1. Stop loss, I just keep all in the same spot. 150 is a good starting point for the NASDAQ 5-minute, and then just spread the targets out by, I don't know, 50 ticks or something. It's just a starting point. But when you click buy market, you want to have all your orders show up so you can move them to where they need to be. So there's 3-position trading system. So you can probably already tell that your stop goes to where the line here is, and your target 1 goes here, your target 2 goes here, and then we also have a runner that you can place all the way up here at, like, I guess this is T6. If it happens to hit T6, great, take it. Otherwise, let it run, or there's ways that we can trail as well. So, and then so I never put my stop right at the wick. On the NASDAQ 3-minute, I put it 15 ticks below. 15 ticks does work pretty well on the 5-minute, but 25 ticks away also works. So I just make this little tool. I just use this little tool, and I just make a 15 tick or a 25 tick. We'll just do 15 for now. And I just bring this around with me while I'm trading, so I know that that's my stop offset pad. So I'll actually place my 3 stops right here. So 1, 2, 3 stops go here. There's the blower again. Every Thursday, without fail, there's a guy that feels like blowing his lawn while I'm on the webinar. Every time. Then our target 1 goes here, target 2 goes here, and then we just place our 3rd target somewhere up above and let the trade soak. So so we hit target 1 on the very next candle. So that means one of our stops goes away. We have 2 remaining stops. We hit T. As soon as we hit T1, I actually like to let the candle expire. So let it time out. Or you can just, as soon as T1 gets hit, go ahead and just move your stops to break even, the 2 remaining. Then we're searching for target 2. We hit target 2 here. Don't forget, I cherry picked the heck out of this on purpose. And now we only have 1 stop left, and that's the runner. So we had 49 tick profit on this, a 95 tick profit, and then we get our 3rd position stopped out at break even. And you'll have that. Does that make sense to everybody? I know it's kind of redundant for a lot of the people that have seen this. I see a tight EMA in your chart, right? Nope, that's a HMA, actually. It's a 21 HMA. I'm not really a huge fan of moving averages, but if I had to pick one, it would be the whole moving average, and I base it on the slope color. So Back to the Future has made these wonderful color changing slope moving averages. This happens to be a whole moving average, and as the slope increases at a certain point in the mathematical formula in the equation, then the color changes from whatever color you want to the other color. So in this case, blue to white. Spot today. Yeah, the ATR trailing stop. Yeah, we can use that still. It's still around. But for what I want to show you folks today, I don't want to. I mean, we can easily do that. I can just put it on here and show everybody if they want. If I can find it, ATR trail stop. So you could trail your 3rd position just by following this yellow line here. So then the stop goes to here, then this candle closes. So you'd get stopped out right here either way. Yeah, the ATR trail stop can be really nice. The way I'm trading now, I don't really use it because I'm doing splits and whatnot. So I don't really have much time for a lot of my trades to soak. But here, these are the basics. not really gonna, I mean, if you want to see how the trailing stop works, you can watch one of the old webinars that I've done. But it's definitely a high quality indicator for sure. It's on the NinjaTrader ecosystem. You can just Google it. NinjaTrader ecosystem, everybody has access to it, it's free. And then you just search for ATR trailing stop, all one word, ATR trailing stop, and then you'll find it in the ecosystem. So every once in a while, I'm gonna cherry pick another one to kind of show you what I mean. Let me find one that doesn't work. They don't happen as often on the 5 minute. But you know, the risk can be insane sometimes on the 5 minute. I guess it's all relative anyway. Yeah, there's nothing there. I mean, it's like almost like yesterday and today, the trading was almost it was almost too easy on the 5 minute. It's a little scary. Let's see. Let me get rid of that ATR trail stop just so I can see clearer. Does anybody have any questions on that the basic entry there? I mean, obviously it's the same exact thing. If you're going to short, you need a blue HMA, a blue dot, and a candle closing below the open price line. So like for instance here, this is a selling window at 9:35 a.m. We need a candle to close below the open price line, and we need the whole moving average to be blue. Closes below the open price line, but the whole moving average is white. Still white, still white, still white, still white, still white. No trades with this system would have been taken here if you're using a moving average. If you're not using moving average, then you could have shorted that candle at just the close below the open price line and the fact that we're in a selling window from 9:35 to 10:05. So I mean, it's up to the user if you want to use moving averages or not. And then I'm also just showing signal dots only. We're not even using the patterns. So this is a pattern 2 blue dot. This is a pattern 1 white dot. This is probably a pattern, yeah, this is a pattern 4 blue dot. This could be looked at as a pattern 5 white dot, but I'm trying to go super simple and just use the dots. Blue is down, white is up. So these dots can invert. So you know there's definitely layers of complexity that we can add to, but I'm trying to show like the simplest possible system that I can right now, and then I want to show you how we can reduce our risk on a 5 minute chart. Trying to find a good example of a trade that doesn't work. They all seem to work pretty well on this day as well. All right. Let me see if I can find a stop puncture trade while I'm thinking about it, because that's the only other kind of trade that we need to look at before I show you the other thing that I want to show you. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Here's a perfect one at 12 o'clock. So at 12 o'clock here, this is a selling window. Now, if we're not using patterns, the only way that we can go long in a selling window is if we get a candle to close above this dot price line. So not the open price line, the dot price line. So, and we also, of course, we need our HMA to be white. So here, this candle closes above the dot price line. So we call this a stop puncture trade, or I call it an SPT, stop puncture trade. And then we would trade that the same way. Our HMA is white. We've punctured the stop trade. Basically, it's like Michael would say, probably the banks just aren't showing up for this one. And we know that because the price went so in the opposite direction that we might as well get on board the opposite direction. And we would trade. Oh, this actually might be a good example for what I'm trying to show next. So you would still get in at the close of that candle, and then you'd simply just hold it until the next signal. So if you don't make your target 1 or 2, you have to close all positions at the next signal, no matter what. I like that there, right? Have you tested using the MAs versus not using the MA? Yes. Yes, I have, and it makes a difference. I recommend using a Hull moving average or some kind of moving average if you're only using blue dot, white dot. If you're using patterns, so 1 or a 5 or a 2 or a 4, then it's easier to get away with not using a moving average. But for a system like this with just simply blue dots or selling, white dots or buying, it's really nice to have a moving average on there, I feel like. What is the strength? What strength, please? It's a 21, Luke. 21 Hull moving average. And you just put it on right straight through your TimeWarp. And I've actually had a lot of emails from customers, people who own the software. I'm a customer too. Other people who own the software who have used this system or a similar system. And people will send me emails with that. Like, I won't even request them. I'll just get an email like, dude, thanks for showing your system. It's really been working great and whatnot. So like, that makes me happy. So I hope that you people go out and try it on Sim first and get used to it. And let me know how it goes. Because I really usually only test it on NASDAQ. So, oh, I distracted myself. I was showing you where the HMA is. Scroll down, TachEon TimeWarp, moving average, HMA 21. And I've tested different HMAs, but 21, I seem to keep coming back to that. So let's clear all drawing tools. Yes. Okay, so let me show you this chart. What time was that? I think that was today, right? I'm going to clear all these drawing tools as well. Okay, so check this out. You're like, what? What's going on here? There's like 2 different kinds of candles on the chart at the same time. I don't understand. So what I've been doing for a while now is overlaying a half the duration candle time on top of the 5-minute bar. So these candles, the colored ones, are actually 150 second candles. Go to data series. The TimeWarp is pulling its swing point signals, so 9:40 a.m. blue dot, from the 5-minute historical data. But my entries are on the 150 second chart, not the 5-minute. So it reduces my risk and it makes it oftentimes easier to hit target 1, which means I can move my stop faster to break even, so I can relax. I can show you folks how to set the chart up like this. It's not that hard. So with the 5-minute, we can see that I've made my color for down bars black, color for up bars this dim gray. So you can see the big ones behind. Those are the 5-minute bars. This is a down bar. This is an up bar right behind here. And for the 150 second, I've just made them a little bit smaller. Bar width is a 5. Color for down bars blue. Color for up bars white. And then I've changed the type to second and the value to 150 second. So if you wanted to do this from scratch, we would start with our blue and white, and we'll go to data series. I'm just going to run through this one time. You can rewind it if you need to. So first I want to change my color for down bars to menu dark gray, color for up bars. I think it was this one. Oh yeah, dim gray. And I'm going to change the wick. Oh, it's already black. Sweet. Okay, and I like to make it dashed. So let's see what that looks like. There we go. And then we'll just add another data series. Same thing, NQ. Make it seconds. 150 seconds is half of 5 minutes. And then we're just going to change our color for down bars to royal blue. Color for up bars to white or Gainsborough, whatever. And then we're going to make our candle wick white. Let's see what that looks like. There we go. So it splits it at first, you can see. Splits it. So all you have to do to get them together, well, there's another way that we could have done it. You could just make them in the, well, I'll show you this. I'll show you one way, maybe both ways. So then you just go to properties, enable drag and drop, click on your data series, just drag it into the other one. There you go. Suddenly you have 2 time frames on one screen. I really like to only look at one screen when I'm trading. I have like another monitor for like monitoring my, because I have multiple Apex accounts and whatnot, just to make sure they're all working properly. But really, I just want to be able to trade off of one. I mean, you could, in theory, just not even look at the candles, the 5 minute bars. But I like to see them because I trade patterns. So I want to see how these 5 minute bars are how they're lining up as we get closer to this, to signal times, to see if it's a pattern 4 or 5. So let me, I mean, basically it's the same exact system. We're just using a smaller time frame to enter. It's not rocket science. What is that? Why is that at? Get out of there. There we go. Let's see, puncture trade. Oh, this is today. So let's look at today. 9:30 is when I start trading. Well, it's just the close of the first 150-second bar is when I know I can enter. So here's 9:30. There's the US New York NASDAQ market open. Okay. So the first bar is this bar. And we are at a white dot time. So we're looking for, I'm not trading this section over here. We're looking for either a close above the open price line or a close below the dot price line for a short. So there's nothing that can be done on this bar, but this very next bar, the blue bar, 152nd, closes below the dot price line. Our HMA is blue. So that's all we need for a short. And our short would be entered right at the close of this candle. And instead of drawing our risk, this is actually a good example. Instead of drawing our risk, oftentimes it would have been better to draw the risk all the way up to the 5 minute candle, like so. But I like to keep my risk smaller. I'd rather have smaller targets. The 5 minute NASDAQ signals from Warp, they just work so damn good. Worth every penny to purchase the software just to trade the NASDAQ 5 minute, let alone that the darn software works on pretty much everything. Especially if you just might have to dial it in a little bit. So instead of our risk going all the way out to here, oops, if we're basing on this 5 minute candle, let's see, what would that risk be? 305 ticks. That's a lot of ticks, and we're using 3 positions. 3, 6, over 900 ticks risk. But I love my NASDAQ 5 minutes. So I'm like, how can I have get a quantitative way to trade this thing without having to deal with so much risk? So instead of using the 5 minute as our risk template, if you will, this 5 minute bar, why are you acting like that? We're going to use the 152nd, so the 2.5 minute, if you will. And we'll just place our stop to the wick on the 2.5 minute. Why does it give me a hard time clicking? Oh, I'm going to get rid of the drag and drop, that's why. So I'm going to go back to properties, I'm going to uncheck the drag and drop. There we go. So now our risk is just going to the wick of the 2.5 minute bar. And we're still going to have our 15 tick or 25. We'll do 15 tick. Geez, man. Yeah, this morning was like crazy. I was all nervous. Kind of traded like a little bit of a pansy. Took my targets early and whatnot because like it was just big. It was big waves. I did make my goal. I made 387 ticks on 2 accounts, 400 almost on 1 account, and 380 on another. And I was like, good enough, close enough to 400. So there's our 15. Here's our pad. Get rid of this now. There we go. So our T1 is here. And we just smack our T1 and our T2 at the same time. Bam, bam. And our third stop would be moved to break even now because we've hit our target 1 and target 2. And we can either, so one way I like to trail, it's very quantitative and really easy to do. If our candle, let me get rid of these lines for just a sec. If we have a candle closing below, in this case, because we're shorting, below the T2 line, right? That means that we can move our stop to the T1 line. If the next, I don't know what the next candle does. I think it starts going back up. I can't quite remember. But if the next candle, or we'll just say if it was this candle, if this candle actually closed below the T3 line here, then we would be allowed to move our stop loss to the line before T3. So we would need that candle to close below this line. So it's just like it's a ladder. It's just a ladder. And then if we would have closed below this line, then our stop would be here, and so on. And below, if our picture this the arrowhead of this arrow as where the candle closes, because if the candle closes here, then we're allowed to move our stop to here. Hope that makes sense. Pretty simple. So because our candle closed here, we're allowed to have our third trail stop to here. So we had target 1, target 2, going off screen. And our stop loss is now here. So we'll see if we get a close below. Let's extend that out. Make this a little smaller. Hopefully everybody can see that. So our stop is this magenta line. Oh, and see how we didn't quite close below the T3 line here? Well, that means we still have to keep our stop loss here. If this candle would have closed down here, then we could move our stop loss to here. But now as it stands, we can't, and we get taken out right here. So that's a pretty easy way to trail. So we still get 168 ticks. So at this point, that's over 400. That's over 400 ticks. I'm done for the day. I mean, I traded the NASDAQ 5-minute and 3-minute, and I had my goal in. If I would have traded if I would have traded like I was supposed to, I would have made like 800 ticks. But I made 400 because I was being a little bit of a weenie. But I made that all in like the first window, like the first half hour, and then I was done. I was like, okay, sweet. Well, I need to save some energy for webinar anyway, so sounds good. So yeah, does that make sense to everybody? I mean, I don't think it's that complicated. No, I don't use the Superdome. Thanks for asking, though. Thanks for questions. Show your targets and stops again. Yep, I just did that. I didn't see your question until right now, Raja, but let me write it on here too. So target 1, target 2, 3 stops, 3 entries. rid of that. Target 2 is here. Target 1 is here. 3 entries came from here. And your 3 stops are 15 ticks. Guess I can make that a little bit more accurate. 15 ticks, which is this length, this width here. 15 ticks above where that wick, where that 150-second wick is. I can make this even more accurate. We'll get that right on the wick. And then our stops are offset by 15 ticks as a pad. It's like a stop pad. So we would be here and here. So that was the first trade of the day with the system. With the 150-second overlay, there is another way that you can do that as well. Let's see if I can remember. You just tell the 150-second data series to have it be in panel 1 instead of a new panel, or you can do the drag and drop thing. So, but it's either way. At 10:10, we have a sell signal. We have a blue HMA. Then we get a candle closing way above the open price line. So there's no long allowed, no short allowed. If we would have closed above the dot price line and our HMA was white, then we could have gone long. But that's not how. Oh, here we go. Oh, here's a really good example. So if we're using 5-minute bars as a stop puncture, our risk would be way down there. It's hard to make that target, especially, I mean, we're still in the opening, like this price action is still within the opening range. So that'd be a really tough target to hit. Otherwise, instead of that, using a 150-second, our risk is like this. Yeah, our target's smaller, but our risk is smaller. So I don't really, see, like now we hit target 1. Man, that's still 79 ticks. What would this risk? What would that be? 343 times 3. I mean, this is a good case. Now we're taking out at break even. So we made 79 ticks on one position. If we would have used the 5-minute bar, we'd be all the way down there, and looks like we wouldn't have been quite stopped out. We might have been stopped out. Yeah, we would have been right on the verge of being stopped out. Looks like we probably would have been. And this is why I came up with this idea, is precisely for candles just like this one, for these giant fake out 5-minute or 3-minute, whatever chart you're trading. Every once in a while, you get one of these huge candles and just go, I don't know what to do with that. I don't want to do it. Maybe I should make my risk like half, or like maybe I should wait for a pullback to like the middle of the candle, which it often actually does. Right here to the wick too. I bet you that's exactly 50% of that candle. Well, it's not exactly, but you could just do 50% of the time. So this is TachEon TimeWarp is all about time. So instead of using Fibonacci 50% pullbacks and limit orders on the whatever the heck, I was just like, how about just another thing with time? How about just half, instead of a 50% Fibonacci pullback, how about just a 50% time duration of the parent bar, the meta bar, if you will, the bars that the signals are coming from. Does that make sense? Oh yes, thank you for reminding me, Scott. The volatility stop offset, I was just thinking about that actually. I used 0.75. 0.75. Volatility stop offset ATR period, still 7, that's standard. Volatility stop offset ATR multiplier is 0.75. So not even 1 times 1 of the ATR the last 7 bars, just 0.75. And it seems to work pretty well for the most part. Let's go through another signal. So now we have 11:05. This is a buying window now. Looking for longs. We need close above the open price line, and we need this blue HMA to turn white. No, not. Oh, I forgot to tell you folks one thing. I actually, let's see, I'm gonna try to do this without having. If you have the TachEon color MAs, which I do, they're free. I don't know what the best way to get them would be. It won't let me send them. They are free. You could send an email to Rachel, or she can probably get them for you folks, people that own the software at least. I use color MAs, which is just the same that you get from the TachEon TimeWarp, right? But I use color MAs, and I almost totally forgot. I attach the moving average to the 1/52nd, not the 5-minute. So I screwed up earlier when I was trying to tell you. You can see the difference. It's quite massive, actually. So this one here is the 5-minute 21 period whole moving average. This one here is the 150-second 21 period whole moving average. So technically, I would actually just get rid of, I mean, you could figure out a way to use them both if you want and have them both be the same color. I mean, that might be better. I don't know. There's a whole millions of different ways that we can use this software. And, you know, it can get overwhelming because there are so many good ideas out there. But I've personally used this system, whether or not you use the smaller candle overlay or not. And a lot of other people have said that it's been working pretty well. So I'm actually going to get rid of the moving average from Warp, make it none. So I just see the 150-second 21 period whole moving average. So it's basically, you can look at it like this moving average here, reading the data from these 150-second bars, not from the 5-minute bars, these large ones behind, these grayscale ones. It's reading, so it's acting very fast. I mean, because the whole moving average dictates if I can enter a trade in any particular direction. And since my entry candles are the smaller time frame, I need to have that whole moving average synced up with my entry candles. So here, I was like, yeah, it's a good thing I looked at this signal. So here we got a 11:05 buying window. We have closes above the open price line, but no white moving average yet. Did that just flip there and I can't see it behind there? Did it? Is it? I think it is. It is, but we have a blue bar. I try not to enter longs on selling bars because oftentimes like your risk can be like so small that you might as well just give your money back. Like you're going to get stopped out. So I would rather wait for a buying bar. There's our buying bar, buying window, white whole moving average, close above the white open price line, and our entry would be there, and we'll draw to the wick of the 150-second candle, and we'll hope and pray for T1. Nope, doesn't happen. We definitely don't get stopped out. Let's draw this all the way over, keeping our stop on the wick of this entry candle here. We almost get stopped out, but don't forget we also have a 15-tick pad there. So in this case, we spent all this time to make like 11 ticks, but we didn't get stopped out. So that's awesome. So 11 ticks times 3. Then our 1150 candle, our 1150 signal rather, and nothing. We need a, oh, there we go. So we have a close. This is a nice little puncture trade. I don't know if it works or not. I can't remember. I didn't trade the rest of the day. I only traded at the beginning. So we have a white whole moving average. We have punctured the stop price line in a selling window, which means the banks didn't show up. We're going the opposite direction on this. That's the idea, at least. So we would enter a long here. The only way that you can, I mean, we're not using patterns, so this is the only way that you can go long in a selling window. And we do hit target 1. Not being too precise with my drawing tools there. Make sure we actually did hit it. Yep, right to the tick. Right to the tick. So yeah, we definitely hit it on this one. 60, 58 ticks, whatever. And oh, nice. And we hit T2 as well, right here. And then that, now we can start looking to trail our stop. Oh, let me just pause here for a second. This candle is the one that took our T1 out. This is why I was saying earlier that I like to let the candle expire. So I want to see the next candles start forming before I move my stop to break even. And it makes it a lot easier on back testing, and it makes it a little bit more stressful when I'm trading, but the back testing is a lot easier. Like, okay, cool. Well, this candle closed, it hit T1. Now I can move, because this candle's closed, now I can move my remaining stop losses to break even. So I'd have them up here now. I'd have 2 of them up here because T1 just got hit. Then T2 gets hit and that one goes away. And now I'm just looking for a close above this line to be able to move my stop loss to the next line. Let's see if we get that. We get that here. So now we can move our stop loss to here. And we get taken out right there. Right here. So we still got 61 ticks out of that. Now we're at 115. Is this making sense, everybody? Let me make sure. Do you need a stop pad? Yes. I see it seems to make a difference on enough trades where I won't trade without a stop pad. The 15 ticks up to absolutely no more than 25 tick stop pad on the NASDAQ 5-minute. Do you know saying that 50-second time? Oh, well, you can just do it yourself, Luke. Just go on the YouTube and just set it up. You should know how to do it anyway, you know. Data series, 5-minute, 150-second. You can just match. All you guys do is just match that. It's not that hard. It'd be good for you to be able to do it yourself too, because that way you can use it and do other instruments as well. So just rewind the YouTube video and you'll see it there. But yeah, by all means, subscribe to a one-on-one. That would be sweet. Let's hang out. Let's do it. I've gotten a lot lazier with wanting to send things to people after Tahoe. I just I mean, if you can do it yourself, why just do it yourself. It's not that hard. It's I have faith that you can do it. So 115, we got to close above. And like another thing is like I get to enter a whole 2.5 minutes early, half the time duration before. Otherwise, in trading the NASDAQ 5-minute, we'd have to wait a whole another 2.5 minutes and think about entering on this 5-minute candle. But instead, we can enter here. I'd have no idea if this trade works out or not. I make it sound like it's great, but I mean, it looks like today's definitely a winning day so far. And got stopped out hard on this puppy. So our stop out is like this, 77 times 3. That's a good stop. If you're gonna get stopped out, if I'm gonna get stopped out, that's how I like to get stopped out. Seriously, I hate getting wicked out and then the price moves in the opposite direction. Like, oh, sweet, okay, that was great. That's exactly why I have a stop loss, because of craziness like this. Now, now we have a decision to make. Do we enter a short on this stop puncture after we just got stopped out? This looks like a fake out candle to me, but I mean, the system does say that we should enter a sell there because it's a stop puncture trade and our HMA is blue. I think I remember. Oh, nice. Heck yeah. Look at that. Hit target 1. Cue the music. 189. Damn, wish I would have traded all day. Oh man, that's awesome. Because otherwise, we would have had to wait for this candle. This is a really good example of why I like this smaller time frame overlay. So instead of making 189 ticks for T1, if we would have waited for the 5-minute bar, which is the main time frame, then we would have been stopped out. So there you go. It's worth it right there. So I'll move that back to where it's supposed to be on the 150. I mean, yeah, Luke, you can send me an email and I might, I mean, I've just been like procrastinating my emails so bad lately. But you could send me an email and then I could send you the template for the thing. I just don't want to make any commitments like I'm actually going to check my darn emails. But it's, I don't know, maybe I'm just like, I think I'm in denial that my vacation's over. It might take me 2 weeks to adjust. It really does. It takes me a while because I'm a mountain person, and coming back to Santa Barbara, I mean, it takes some adjustment. I just really, really, really love the winter and I love the snow. So, I mean, in theory, we got stopped out here on this close above. Then we closed below the dot puncture and we were able to get T1, and then we're stopped out at break even on those two. Let me click you, right? And then in theory, we could enter another long at this close above the open price line there. We're still in a buying window right here. With the 5-minute bar, we would have to get in here. But with the 150, we can get in here. And don't worry about this wick. This wick is actually printing at the same time that this wick is printing. Whatever is here is what, this wouldn't have been like stopped out. I mean, even, well, we had our 15 tick pad anyway, but don't worry about this wick when you're back testing. You'll see it how it works in real time. It does work. So T1, T2, boo bam. And then we're trailing our stop because we closed above here. No, we're still here. We need to close above here to be able to move our stop to the net. Oh, there we go. We get it there. See that? Is that making sense to everybody, hopefully? See how we closed above this line? That means we can move we basically move our stop 2 lines down. So we don't move our stop to this line, then we have no room to breathe. We move our stop to this line because we closed here. We're allowed to move our stop to here. Very quantitative way to trail. No trail stop needed either. And then we get stopped out at T1. So that's awesome. 210, we'll just finish up the day. Blue HMA, white candle, close above blue. Nope, we need a blue candle, closing below the blue. There it is. So blue HMA, blue candle, close below. Short market. $1.50. And oh, this is why you're asking about the stop pad. This is why. Not stopped out. 18. We were 11 ticks away from being stopped out, so we were sitting pretty on that one. That's the why for the stop pad. Target 1 and stopped out at break even for the remaining 2. There we go. And let's see if we get a reset. So we could look at our HMAs if it was kind of reset now. So if we get another blue close below and a blue HMA flip, then if we wanted to, we could short this window again. I probably wouldn't, but we could. Oh, we're at the end of the day anyway. Oh, well, oh no, we're not. 1600 is the end of the day. So if we wanted to, and you know, I don't necessarily recommend this. In this case, it works out, and it did work out at the other spot as well. So because we got a candle closing above and our HMA turned white, it kind of reset. I like to look at it like it resets the window. So now we can look for closes below and blue HMAs again. And that's what happens here. And oh man, it gets so close. No, it's a good time to mention one other thing actually. Oh yeah, we hit it. We hit it. If I'm feeling antsy, like I'm not really with the program, I will take this same 15 tick pad. It happens often. Imagine that. I'll take the same 15 tick pad and I'll drag this thing down to the first target, and I'll allow myself 15 ticks of wiggle room to just like exit that first position within this 15 tick window. I don't back test like that, but I'll live trade like that. So if the price action gets anywhere in here, I'll allow myself to close that first T1. I don't know, it helps me psychologically to know that I have that option written into my rules. And then at 325, our white HMA, white close above, white dot, go long. And I actually did a back test with this system for yesterday and the day before, and all days were profitable on the NASDAQ 5-minute. I don't have the energy to do all that right now live, but oh, there, this one gets stopped out. Geez, have we even had any stop outs yet? Let's see, that's 15. Oops, that's 15. So even with a 25 tick, we would have been stopped out. Okay, cool. That's fine. So 71 times 3 stopped out. You'll have that. Now we'll see if we can get a reset. So we did reset. So we've had candles closing below the open price line, and our HMA is blue. So now in theory, if we want, well, now we're at the end of the day. So, but we have a white HMA, a white close above as a reset. I mean, I probably wouldn't do this live because we're almost at the end of the day, but you could, and that just fizzles out into, so. And we could just call that a break even. So let's just look and see what this day would have done. Let's total it up here. Does anybody have a calculator? I can read these numbers out and somebody can do the calculating part. Let me arrange the flags a little bit better as well. That's 311s. Yeah, hopefully I've made the case for some people to want to try this smaller time frame overlay. It's pretty rad. It takes a little getting used to. I actually end up putting 2 August bar timers on my chart. One, I should show you guys that too. And then I'll probably be done. Then I'll read out these numbers. We'll see what today would have been, and I'll piss myself off because I'll think, I should have traded all day, then I would have made so much more money. I think I will, but what if I started going psycho or something, doing dumb things? You know, it definitely happens. So for the August bar timers, indicators, August bar timer, that's already set up on our 5-minute input series, 5-minute. Well, we have 2 different time frames going on in this chart. So we'll go and get another August bar timer. There she is. Edit input. 1/52. Okay. Apply. So now we have 2 bar timers on there. One for the 150, one for the 5-minute, just so we can know kind of what's going on. Anybody ready with a calculator? Weston, thank you. Okay, here we go. Ready? 165, 317, 169, 79, 11, 11, 11, 58, 61, 115, 189, 45, 91, 45, 39, 95. Got that? And then we're going to minus. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Weston. And then let's do minus 71, minus 71, minus 71, minus 77, minus 77, minus 77. Is that really it? That's it. Yeah, today was a crusher, man. What's that, Weston? 1057. Thank you for your help. 1057 times $5 a tick, $5,200 a day. And like, it's not really it's not a fluke. I mean, this was an incredible day, but it's not rare to see 1,000 tick profit out of the NASDAQ 5-minute and these wonderful white and blue dots with this system. So yes, 714, exactly like the webinar always is. Thank you. Really good question. Thank you, Weston. TachEon TimeWarp settings, just to reiterate everything one more time. Swing is 8 calendar days, 7, 14. And then the only other real setting of significance is I went right past it. Volatility stop offset ATR, multiple 0.75. The period for the look back of the ATR is 7 bars. Yeah. Luke, are you good? Do you think you can either send me an email or just set it up yourself, or you can try doing both, and I'll do my best to get back to you. How do you calculate, Randall? How do you calculate the wins and losses with the yellow arrows that you doing? Is a good question, Randall. With the yellow arrows or with the flags, you mean? So these are just rulers. It's called ruler on Ninja. And you can right click on that, go to properties, and then you can tell the ruler to display ticks or price or currency, whatever. I like ticks. It's just my preference. And then over here on the drawing tool tile, you can also click the drawing tool tile, get a ruler that way, or you can go to drawing tools, ruler, same thing. Or you can program a hotkey to do it. My hotkey that I program is Control Spacebar. That's really quick. And then for my fib tool, my Control F does that. You can just program your hotkeys. In case anybody's interested, oh, here's a bonus for you. If you wanted to program your hotkeys, you just go to Tools, Hotkeys, Actions, and then Drawing. And you can say, oh, I didn't know there was a stay in draw mode hotkey. That's cool. So you can just record any hotkey that you want. Where is it? Where's ruler? Ruler. So I recorded. So click to record, you click, and then you push whatever key combination you want, and then you'll always have it. Pretty simple. Tools, hotkeys, actions, drop down arrow, actions, scroll down to drawing tools, and then any drawing tools you want, you can program your own hotkeys. Cool. You don't use a trailing ATR anymore for trading? No, I haven't been using it for a little while. So what I do is I don't just trade signal to signal like this. I also use splits. A lot of you have probably seen Michael. I don't want to get too into this because it's not necessary, but you can, if you'd like, you can split these times into, or hold on a second. I'll just briefly go over it. Drawing tools, remove all. Yes. So I use splits because I don't want to hang on to these my trades as long. Yeah, it helps in some regards, and yeah, sometimes it doesn't. Where was here's a good version or place right here. This 10-10 signal. So our window goes from do that every time. 10-10 to 11:05. That's our selling window. So looking for down pressure. Now we can also split this window into thirds, and it's kind of crazy how well it works. You can split this window into thirds. This is just a Fibonacci time retracement. Here's the settings. 4 levels. So you just click add to make more levels. One's 33, 66.66, 0, and 100%. And then you just got to make the colors so they alternate. So you can pause the YouTube video or just rewind it. So just go to Back to the Future YouTube page, and this will be uploaded by tomorrow at some point. There they are. And then you can change however you want your line to look and everything. So we can split that window into thirds. So like for me and the trading that I just, you definitely don't have to start out with the splits, So like here's our same stop puncture. So that ATR trailing, it doesn't really come into play that much anyway because I'm not holding my trades quite as long. So this one wouldn't have made a difference. Now we're on a white split. So there's nothing to do here since we never get a close. And then you can hand draw your own open price lines in. And my trading is even a little bit more complex than this. I wish I could I should just be trading as simply as I just taught you folks, but for some reason, I bet you folks could trade that system better than I can, the one I just taught you. So here's a blue split. Well, because I know so much, like I know patterns, like I know that this is a pattern. I'll probably call this a pattern 5, and because I did, then I do one thing, and I call this a pattern 4 split, and I'm doing something else. Which I could teach. I don't have the time and energy to go all into everything. But that's one of the reasons I don't use a trailing stop is because I'm splitting my trades up into. But yeah, like I said, it's not even necessary. It probably isn't even any better. It's probably better to do the simplest system, the one that I just taught. I really don't know. Certainly easier to back test, and certainly would have crushed it this week. But you folks you've just seen how I do it. But like I said, like I use patterns, so this 9 a.m. signal, I don't trade at 9 a.m., but if I did, this is a new high. This is a higher high. Definitely higher than that high. So this is a pattern 5. So that's actually not a long signal in my book. But if your trading method is dot to dot, which it definitely can be, and it has been for me, and probably should be for me as like an auxiliary system. That is a regular pattern 2. That's a pattern 1. That's a pattern 2. That's a pattern 5, but not until this candle closes. Like I said, you don't really need, with the way that I have this system that I just taught, you don't really need to know all that. I mean, it's like one of those things. Because I know what I know, and I know the software so well and the patterns and everything, I can't unsee it. If I could start over and nobody even tell me what patterns were and not learn all this, probably would be just as good or better just to think white dot up, blue dot down, caveman style. With the HMA though, I wouldn't trade dot to dot without some kind of moving average. And I didn't really start exploring the HMA until like maybe 6 months ago, and ever since I can't use any other moving average other than an HMA now. It just works too well. Look how smooth it is. It's just sexy. It just is. So yeah, I mean that pretty much does it. Mike, where have you been? I'll show one more time my settings in Warp. And you can always just go, this will be recorded. It's being recorded right now, and it will be up on YouTube tomorrow on Back to the Future's YouTube channel. Settings are standard, exactly like the settings for every single webinar. I don't change it. Calendar days, it's all standard right out of the box. When you open Warp, put it on your computer. Hopefully people who don't have it will purchase today to get more people on our team here. But so when you do purchase, these are the standard settings. It starts with calendar days 7/14, swing indicator 8. So it's looking back in time, a span of 17 days and 14 days for swings in the market that are of a strength of 8. And there's a quantifiable way in which the swings are determined to be a 4 or a 3 or an 8 or a 20. But I have it looking back at 8, which is standard. Yeah, you're welcome, Mike. Speaking of, so again, I'm not the sales guy. Dave is. Dave, did you post the reversal dots? What do you mean, Luke? Reversal dots? I mean, if I'm using patterns, I either use on the 5-minute, I use a 1 actually. If I'm gonna trade patterns, okay, yeah. If I'm gonna trade patterns on the 5-minute, I use a 4/5 swing strength 1 pattern identifier, I call it, or definer, not identifier. Sorry. And I don't really look for 6/7s. I'm only looking for 4/5s. Swing strength definer of 1. Not to be confused with pattern 1. This is a swing strength definer of 1. Yeah. Oh, you're welcome. Okay, so hopefully that's enough stuff for a lot of you folks to run with. I mean, I'd be pretty stoked if somebody just showed that to me. Like, oh man, I gotta try that. Oh, that chart overlay thing, that looks awesome. Oh, there's me and my dog. That's last year, actually. I do like this slide that I added to the slideshow that Michael originally made. It's like this is the hammer that I'm using, these a high quality roofing hammer now, or like a sledgehammer that I know I can actually do some business with. I'm not, and yeah, it costs money, for indicators that are high quality like this, but I ain't using no little child's Grammy hammer, no offense to Grammys or children, like this when I'm going up against these institutions as a retail trader. I want something that I can compete with, and I want to be on board. So luckily Michael already went through a lot of that. Yeah, so I think, well, he already went through that, how to find the times and projections. So like the times that are on my chart that I just went over, those were already projected out and posted on the Back to the Future website Tuesday, and they went out to a bunch of emails as well. So there's no way to fake where those dots were. I mean, this is a legitimate edge, and there's multiple ways that you can trade it. You can trade dot to dot, to heck with my target system and the HMA and everything. I mean, you can just trade dot to dot, and it will produce an edge to make money in the markets. Hypothetically speaking, of course, don't sue me, but it absolutely does. So there's the signal, and then there's the setup. This is one of my Apex accounts there. This is Ron's Pro Trading Room. You can also join Ron's Pro Training Room. Yeah, because I mean the field is completely stacked against us. I mean, look at these this was like last year or something. This is the penalties that these institutions have accrued. 264 records for Bank of America, 82 trillion. No, I'm sorry, billion. 82 billion dollars either way in penalties. Oh, just give a little slap on the wrist and yeah, no worries. Just don't do that again. Wink, wink. Do that again so we can make some more penalty money, says the government. It's part of my thing, so I'm just going to do it. So Mark Douglas, 5 fundamental truths and the 7 principles of consistency. If your trading edge doesn't have, or if it isn't in alignment with the 5 fundamental truths and the 7 principles of consistency, then I don't consider it. If I'm trying to design a system, I don't consider it complete until I'm in alignment with all of these rules. 5 fundamental truths of trading. Number 1, anything can happen. Number 2, you don't need to know what's going to happen next in order to make money. Number 3, there's a random distribution between wins and losses for any given set of variables that define an edge. Random distribution. Number 4, an edge is nothing more than an indication of a higher probability of one thing happening over another. And number 5, that's a really big one, number 5 for me. Just remembering that every moment in the market is unique. Oh, well, that's not really lining up like that, and it just did this, so it's probably not gonna. That's exactly when you're gonna get a big trade. When I start thinking like that, every moment in the market is unique. 7 principles of consistency, and I'm gonna let you all out of here in a second. I objectively identify my edges. Number 2, I predefine the risk of every trade. Like this is what I like. The system that I just taught you folks absolutely adheres to all of these. Objectively able to identify the reason for entry, the edge, yeah. Predefined risk of every trade, yep. Completely accept the risk, we're willing to let go of the trade. Act on my edge without reservation or hesitation. 5, I pay myself as the market makes money available to me. We have a target 1, we have a target 2, and we have a way to trail. You can use the ATR trail stop, or you can use, which is nice because you can do that automatically, or you can use the latter method. Number 6, I continually monitor my susceptibility for making errors. Number 7, I understand the absolute necessity of these principles of consistent success, and therefore I never violate them. And WD Gann, this is where it all began in Michael's brain. Pretty sure came from the, I mean, yeah, I think Michael draws a lot of inspiration from WD. I mean, we're trying to follow those big money tracks. Trying to follow the trail, trying to not be the little. I want to follow the sumo. I want to be this samurai walking away. Sorry guys, sorry. I know it's kind of rude, but I'm gonna walk away with your money now. Sorry about that. I'd rather draft behind the big boys. Successful trader studies human nature and does the opposite of what the general public does. And that's why I actually spent the money on TimeWarp. In fact, like when I realized, my initial reaction after I watched a bunch of YouTube videos a couple of years ago, and it was, oh man, if this is free, like I don't know, it's not really even believable. And then I realized how much it costs, and I was like, ah. And then I was like, wait a minute. I actually I liked it costs money. It makes it actually seem more legit to me that it's not just free. Honestly, if Warp was free, I don't know. I don't think I would trust it as much. It doesn't really matter what it costs. I've been using it for 2 years. I trust it. I wouldn't trade any other way without it. I don't know. Anyway, with the price of the software, you get obviously the software and two licenses, so you can use it on 2 separate computers, which is awesome. 2 completely different NinjaTrader logins, I believe. Yeah, I will give you the setup, all the YouTube videos, training, all sorts of stuff like that. Workspaces, templates, discount, trading future, choose left, choose right. I mean, the patience and knowing when my trading opportunities are going to be in the future has made a massive difference in my trading. Just that alone, the patience. 2 lifetime licenses. It is lifetime. And if you purchase it and you can't figure out how to install it, don't worry. Back to Future peeps will install it for you. And oh yeah, as far as me, let me know if anybody wants to book a session. Send me an email to jacob@backtofuturetrading.com. There's my cell. You can also reach me on Skype. What is my Skype? Skype seems to be the best way to get a hold of me lately. Let me see if I can post that in there. Skype. How do I do that? There it is. Share what you're up to. Yeah, for some reason I've been really liking the Skype lately. They actually respond. Weird. I think they changed it. Skype profile. Share profile. Copy to clipboard. Okay, I think I'm gonna post it in the chat. It's definitely the best way to get a hold of me is on Skype for sure. Dashboard, chat, where is the chat? Chat, come to me. Handouts, polls, chat. Where are you? Questions? What do I do? Bury the chat somewhere? Dashboard, polls, handouts. Oh, there it is. Oh, thank you, Dave. There's David's contact information. David's a sales guy. So give Dave a call, 727-742-2626, and his email is David at backtothefuturetrading.com. And who knows, he'll maybe be able to sweeten the pot. We're going to give you, we have this discount code right here, WARPOFF, WARPOFF. That's going to give you $500 off. But call Dave because I don't know if he'll give any more money off, but I wouldn't be surprised if he'd figure out ways to sweeten the pot. I'll just leave it at that. But you got Control V. There it is. Okay, I just posted my Skype link in the chat as well. I wonder if there's any other way. Skype name, Jake Royall, all lowercase, JakeRoyall. You should be able to just find me like that. Yeah. So yeah, let me just take you to the website. Anybody who does not have, let's do this. Bring a new tab on in. Oh, do you guys, oh man, I hate that. I hate when it does that. Whatever, just let Yahoo do its thing. Back to thefuturetrading.com. Oh, it's like old times. I remember when I first bought. Customer login, product store. Oh, somebody's Skyping me already. Trying to work here on. Oh, good to see you, Yusuf. Yusuf was Skyping me. TachEon TimeWarp, learn more. Oh, don't forget, lots of good Trustpilot reviews. I'm one of those reviews from, I don't know, a while back, over a year ago. TachEon TimeWarp, scroll all the way down and you will see the buy now button. You can also, this is a new thing that Back to the Future is offering, this buy now, pay later. It's financing. So you can, yeah, it's pretty awesome. They've worked with this company and now you can finance it. So buy now. You can either go with the pro room training or without. We're just going to go without for now. And email Dave. Anybody who has any questions on pro room or any other questions, Dave is your man. And we'll just scroll through the disclaimer stuff. And let's make sure that that code still works. WARPOFF, apply. There you go. Under $2,000 for software that is life-changing. Absolutely 100%. I've never had buyer's remorse. Yeah, I can't say that. I mean, even if I have had buyer's remorse, it was only like a second. Then I was like, oh yeah, what would I do without this? Yeah, I don't know how it's trying to go back. If somebody told me that I had to go and start trading again without Warp, I don't know. I might just have to say, yeah, no. I mean, it's such an integral part of my everyday trading that it's, I mean, it is trading for me, these time signals. So yeah, that's how you do it. And I think with that, I think I've said and shown, man, we had a lot of people here for a little while. That was awesome. We still have a lot of people. Anyway, yeah, it was great to see everybody. Jacob at backtothefuturetrading.com if you want to book a mentor session or something, or find me on Skype, Jake Royall, all one word, 2 L's, JakeRoyall, and we can set up a session. I also have passed multiple Apex account evaluations with this software, and I know a heck of a lot about Apex and stuff. If anybody's interested in that, let me know as well. Let me just make sure that there's no other questions. The 1 minute NQ, that's a good question, Scott. Why don't I use a 1 minute NQ to reduce risk? Because the 1 minute chart makes me go it makes me want to tear my hair out. And there's already so many people using the 1 minute that I just don't want anything to do with it. 2.5 minute bars, like I can chill with that. I mean, you could put a 1 minute chart. I mean, like, check this out. If you take your data series and you change this to 60 seconds, watch how convoluted this thing gets. Just now we got all these 1 minute bars for my eyes, they're just all over the place. But it could be great. I don't know. I haven't actually looked at it because I don't want to, because I know what the 1 minute NASDAQ does to me. Eventually, it's like an alcoholic who knows that they shouldn't be drinking. Like, it might be okay for a week or two, then something happens to my brain with the NASDAQ 1 minute and it gets me. So that's why I like the idea of 50% of the time duration of a 5 minute candle. Because now you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars, 5 1 minute bars in between every 5 minute bar. And I just noticed that the 1 minute gets stopped out a lot. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Oh, thanks, Susan. All right, well, thanks everybody. Appreciate y'all. It was fun doing the webinar again. Maybe I'll see you next week, or maybe not. I don't know. We'll take it one day at a time. And yeah, thank you, Luke. Yeah, you too. All right, everybody. I'll wrap it up here. And remember, in trading, there are no mistakes, only happy accidents. Over and out.